I am here with the man, Scott, from the Boondocks. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, good. How are
We
you?
are only Scots now, because for me, it's been like only Scott with other people while Scotty's been away, but now, it's like only Scots again. So I
Yeah,
feel it feels natural. Feels good.
it feels good. Yeah, two Scotties
Two
hanging out.
Scotties, one... Jesus, already going there. My bad. From the Boondocks. Cool, mate. So, yeah, you were saying before that because I didn't know this literally until you just told me. The Boondocks name comes from, like, being from, well, middle of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah. So we grew up, me and Brandon, being the only members in the band. We grew up on the Afutu Peninsula.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to describe, but it's north of Pukekohe. And so it's a bit of a tiki tour to get to Auckland for gigs, but we do it.
That's
And
commitment. Well done.
yeah. So growing up out of Whiru and going to this primary school there is where me and Brandon met. And Brandon's a few years younger than me, but just knew each other kind of on the bus and, just kind of briefly talking to each other every now and again, but never really being like mates or anything. And then went to the same high school, Waiuku College, which is a small town, so everyone kind of goes there. And then after school, we ended up forming a band, a shoegaze band, and
What was that called?
it was called Simp Vader.
Simp Vader?
Yeah, like simp
Neat.
and Vader, because that was the term back in the day you used to use as calling another person a simp.
Oh,
you know?
Simp Vader.
Yeah,
I said Simp Vader. Oh, yeah, Simp Vader.
It was a terrible name, and we're all massive Star Wars fans. So
Yeah, Simp Vader.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense.
yeah, definitely.
I love Star Wars, but,
Yeah.
a lot of Star Wars fans simps.
Simping for Star Wars.
Simping for Star Wars?
Yeah.
I definitely do a little bit.
I think
I'm a sucker. Speaking of, if they put out anything, I'm going to watch it.
Dude, and yeah, I'm the same. Like I'm like,
It's a full cash cow.
Yeah.
But I'm so fucking bought out.
I'm there for this fan service. I'm
Yeah.
there to, yeah, I know what you mean. If they release a sequel to the sequels, I'm definitely watching it.
I know, right?
I'm definitely waiting out on the Old Republic prequels. So yeah,
Oh, yeah. Those will come eventually.
I hope
for
so.
sure.
I hope they're good.
Yeah, I mean, we were doing the deep dives and going Ahsoka and that, and then from the Clone Wars, and then referencing Rebels, and if you
Yeah.
watch that, of course. And I'm just like, yeah, this is the live TV shows are now becoming
Good. Well, yeah, they did the Ahsoka.
Fences.
I haven't really watched it too much, the Ahsoka one yet. I'm going to, but I know that Hayden Christensen has kind of redeemed himself.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how that's happened on the Star Wars part? Because I'm a big fan as well. I just remember being a kid in that, and then everyone would just bitch and moan so much about Hayden Christensen, but also just the prequels in general.
Yeah, definitely.
And as I got older, I'm I understand the frustration, but I still reckon, for me, the third movie is the best movie.
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
It's the best movie.
It's got to be third and fifth have to be the best
Yeah,
movies.
the fifth, yeah, of course, right. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Just
are
that
the
Hoth scene alone.
absolutely. Yeah. I used to play Battlefront.
Hell
on
yeah.
PS2.
Hell yeah, bro.
Hoth, the map. Yeah, that was it. That was
Yeah,
the one.
Battlefront 2 was the shit. And
Yeah.
Battlefront as well. I played a bit of Battlefront, but Battlefront 2 was,
Yeah.
good times. Fucking oh.
Go to
Simp Vader.
Yeah. So we were a shoegaze band, and we only did a few gigs. Honestly, there was four of us, and we all just bought heaps of pedals, and we all got into that emo shoegaze thing like Tidal Fight and Gleamer and all those other ones.
Okay, I don't actually know. When I think of shoegaze, I think of 90s stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
My Bloody Valentine. Oh,
that-
there's another one. Oh god, I used to listen to the shit out of them, and I've totally forgot. Oh, I think they come to New Zealand. Oh,
Slow Dive.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Slow Dive.
I
Yes.
was into Slow Dive. I wasn't into My Bloody Valentine as much as Slow Dive.
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked them, but my biggest influence was Tidal Fight and
Title Fight. Okay.
kind of the more
check 'em
modern.
out.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And the other members were into Gleamer and Citizen.
Yeah.
And so we did the shoegaze thing, and we rehearsed every week for a year. It was just after lockdown. And,
yeah.
And so we were all eager, but no one knew how to organize gigs, and we were all just really nervous, and so yeah, we just never really. We did 3 gigs or something, and on our first gig, they introduced us and they got it wrong. They don't even call us Invader. They called us the Shoegaze. And
Oh, what? Why? How do you fuck that up?
I think they didn't realize that Shoegaze was a genre.
Ah.
And they were just like, we're Invader, we're a shoegaze band. And they're like, Welcome to the show.
Shoegaze.
The shoegaze, yeah.
Ah,
It was
that's a fuck up.
the shoegaze.
The shoe. That's even worse.
It was pretty bad. It was
It reminds me of that Sum 41 music video from back in the day.
Yeah,
like the Sums or something.
yeah. It's it was a breaking point for our band day, that gig. It was a terrible gig. It was like in the social club locally, and so everyone
you guys are all playing those real atmospheric, like really like reverberant, echoey stuff. Yeah,
depressing as music.
I can imagine how that would go down.
Bunch of like no one under the age of 70 there, just like what is this?
That's what's funny though about doing. I think like I had that, I guess, when I was like teenager, and I was like, oh, it's in terrible bands, but it was great. It was great, but it was terrible.
Yeah.
But I think just like that example, it reminds me of like playing like gigs where you're really just playing like kind of for yourselves, and then you're playing with people who are like, oh fuck, is this? And maybe it is bad or whatever, but it's good to get out there even in the beginning and just do it. And if I think you probably learned a lot from that.
Yeah, I never really got into gigging. Like, this band's the first band I've gigged with, and I wanted to go sort of in the deep end of it.
You guys have been playing a bit of Ding Dong and doing all that?
We've probably played about 40 gigs in the first year we were a band.
Wow, last year, right?
We started
before?
about a year ago, yeah.
Was it 20? I just look on Instagram, so 2022?
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, you guys are pretty fresh still. Cool.
Yeah, so we
Nice.
did heaps and heaps of gigs, like weekly gigs, sometimes 2 gigs a weekend.
Primarily where?
Big time at Ding, because we did the Battle of the Bands, but we also branched out into, this year we've branched out into the underground. We're going to go back to Ding. Played at UFO a bunch.
Oh, UFO, that's a throwback. Yeah.
Played at UFO. That was probably one of the first places. Anthology Lounge, we've played there one or two times. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
So yeah, it's been pretty good. Definitely, it was definitely kind of a learning curve, because I've only been in about 3 bands.
Yeah.
Not including this one. The first band I was in was a band called Dank, which is the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Shoegaze as well?
Nah, it was kind of more just like the Boondocks.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's
just
sort
like
of,
hard rock stuff. It was with my mate Liam. We wrote a lot of songs together, and then COVID hit, and then we both were doing apprenticeships and got real busy, and that band kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And then I was in a pop punk band called the Memes. And we did a song that got like, in like 12 hours, went viral for us, you know.
Oh wow,
it was
good stuff.
It wasn't good because it was super embarrassing, and we did.
Why was it super embarrassing?
We released the song. The band was called Memes, and we released a song called "Best Friends for Never." And
Best Friends for, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it already.
We it was just me and Rory, who was in St. Vader as well.
Yeah.
And our mates George and Kieran. I don't know if I see Kieran, but there was 4 of us, and we did this pop punk band as a joke, a bit of a fun, like a laugh. The school just got like like a small studio set up, like a project studio. And I thought it'd be funny as if the first EP released on that equipment would be a really bad pop punk album.
Yeah.
Cool. And so we made this EP called My Dead Friend Charlie, and we released it, and we did this music video for it, and the music video just like took off, and it was just us.
I'll check it out.
No, I wouldn't. I absolutely wouldn't. No? And on Facebook, it was terrible time. On Facebook, it got like 15,000 views in like a day or something.
Wow,
it was insane.
But yeah, I guess if it's for the stuff that you don't want to show, you're like, oh shit, this is a parody. People take it seriously.
Yeah, that was the problem. Is it was a parody, but everyone thought,
happen.
And it was terrible. Yeah, it sucked. But it definitely gave me
you played guitar and you did a singing on it? Or?
Yeah, I played guitar and did some singing, but Kieran played bass and sang, and he was he would write lyrics and he would write songs, and we kind of all just did it for fun. But it was just like, that was the first band that I was confident. I've always been unconfident when it came to performing, and so being in a band that's entirely a piss take made me a lot more confident. And I would say now in the Boondocks, I'm a lot more confident on stage, probably because of that.
Had a good effect. Yeah, interesting, the knock-on effect of that. Yeah. It's funny that performing live is always you have to really believe it.
Yeah.
You know, but I think playing I've never done a parody band. That was one thing I found with a cover band. I was played it for a few years, and I said before, but for me, by the end of it, I was like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, I think, you gotta, you really got to believe what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, if you, and I imagine obviously the project you're doing now, you're all about it and it sounds great, but I think, yeah, some people, I've definitely seen gigs, and you probably have as well, performers, and just not into it. And then
Yeah.
as an audience, you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it.
It's, yeah, it is. That's true, 100%. That's why I think that's why I'm so drawn to bands like punk bands. There's heaps of punk bands out there that I really like because
Wicked.
they're really about what they're talking about. And I mean, I'm about
That's
what,
the whole essence of the genre in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's meant to be like socially and politically kind of charged, or personally as well. But
yeah,
it's like, yeah, there's no point doing that sort of genre if you don't give a shit, if you're not caring about what you're doing, really.
yeah. I mean, starting off, we kind of mixed in with some punk bands. There's a punk band that we play a lot with called Pink Plates.
Okay, cool.
They're a cool band. They're one of my favorite bands. But yeah, we kind of, it's real hard to like kind of, you know, it's real hard to be in a lot of different circles, if you know what I mean. Like you can't, yeah. But it was,
You mean genre-wise?
Yeah.
Like different bands? Oh, okay.
like playing in with different bands. It's kind of, I mean, we're lucky because we're just like a bread and butter rock band that's kind of just like, and so we can kind of mix in.
There's a lot of room for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that, to be honest. I mean, obviously, if you go along and play with like a singer-songwriter, and then you kind of jump on like a cafe gig, maybe it won't quite work. But I think you'd be surprised. Like, I played in at a metal band, and we had like some. We weren't really metalcore. We were more like I don't know what we were. Hardcore punk mixed with, I guess, a bit, I don't know, some singing, some screaming, some heavy riffs and breakdowns. But my whole point is, like, we would do gigs with, like, hardcore death metal bands, and then
Yeah.
we'd do, like, a gig with, like, rock bands.
Yeah, yeah.
And then pop punk bands. And we kind of didn't really fit into many of them because, yeah, of, like, too heavy for this, too heavy for that, not heavy enough for this.
That's kind of, yeah, that's definitely a situation that
Yeah.
we
but
find ourselves in.
I think you should be open to playing all of it.
Absolutely.
I think so, because I think people also appreciate it when they watch you live. Like, if it's sort of like, let's say, like a pop punk gig and everyone's talking about their ex-girlfriends, but then you guys come on and, like, kind of have, like, that, you know, sort of groove rock sort of sound, rock
Yeah.
and roll. It's, like, it's refreshing.
Yeah, it's just like a break, right? Like a breather. It's definitely I definitely like playing with different bands. It's just something I'm like, oh, is this weird? Like,
Nah, man, it's good.
one of my favorite gigs we did was we did a show with like Soulstroke, who's like a hardcore band with Alex.
Soulstroke.
Yeah, so
Don't know them.
they're like real heavy, and we did this. We started off with this like, there was hardly anyone there, but we started off with like a real light rock band. You know, like real. I really like them. They were called Black Jacket. They're called Blackjack Society now. And then it went to us, and we were kind of like way heavier than them. And then it went to Soulstroke, and it was just like three of the most. It was just extremes, you know.
Yeah.
That was
That's awesome. I love those gigs. I love those sorts of gigs. Like, yeah, playing, or well, having people from different sorts of bands. Because if everyone's the same, like, yeah, it reminds me of gigs like would have been early 2010s, and there were a lot of bands at the time who kind of did like well, there was the metalcore emo stuff, and there was shitloads of that going on.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
would get really repetitive. But the other one that was real popular was like, I used to call them like the sheethead ripoffs.
Yeah.
And it was just like all these bands that kind of just sound like that. And I'm like, this is so boring.
Yeah.
Everyone plays the same power chord.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really, I don't know, I'm all about mixing it up. But yeah, I mean, to some people, of course, they'll be like a bit jarred by it. But I don't think I don't know.
If you write enough songs, you can kind of create
Yeah.
a set list that suits the environment more. Which
Yeah.
starting out with a band, like Brandon is in another band, and so he's real confident with live. He was real confident with live playing a lot of the time, and so he didn't really mind. But I was super nervous, and his confidence definitely helped me be more confident.
Yep.
But like booking gigs starting out, it's like, what do you do? Like you kind of just message bands, and they like check your Instagram profile, and you have like 7 followers, and you're like, yeah, they're all my friends, but you know what I mean? It's like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
like-
I've been there, man. I've been there.
yeah, can I please have a shot at a gig, and they
Yeah.
like leave you on scene, and you're just like, one day. And I remember it, like it took me ages to get our first gig.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was just messaging the Ding Dong Lounge, just be like, can I play on a Thursday night? And we did, and there was no one there. But it was like, it was cool. It was like,
Good on you, man.
it was good. Like, I was like, okay, well, I'm prepared to do this for like at least another 2 times.
Yeah.
Playing to no one.
That's what you got to do. I mean, yeah, I've been there. I've playing to the sound guy. I've done that.
Yeah.
You know, like acoustic gigs as well. I've done a few of those, and yeah, you end up being like, what, like, is this worth it? But then it's you'd be surprised, like you know, and also getting the live experience and learning how to handle like awkward situations or things that are a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because then things get easier, you know, and then yeah,
And make sure-
you give it time. You know, you'll have a whole. The thing will grow like 10, 20, 40, and then you play with other bands, or you end up playing gigs. I remember I did that, play gigs with bands, and all you just watching each other.
Yeah,
There's no one in the audience as well.
The band is the audience. Yeah.
Exactly. So that also does happen. It's just all about the consistency of just keeping doing it, and also I think, yeah, just writing great songs, releasing them, doing all that. That's sort of what I've seen. I mean, like one of my friends' bands who they come on a lot and we love them a lot on the podcast is Caridian. I'm sure you might know of them.
I don't know them personally, but I do know of them.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
And like when we went on tour with them, like, yeah, geez, long time ago. But they have like always consistently just been going at it, and I've seen them play loads of gigs to nobody, and just trying and pushing, and even to get on like the rock and hierarchy. And I saw that you guys have already been on you had some interviews and stuff.
Yeah, that was super cool.
That's cool, man. Well done.
Thanks.
It's quite hard to get those. So
yeah,
good stuff. It's a great sign after being a year together. Well done.
Yeah, that was a crazy time. It was obviously like the first 3 months, as I was saying, we didn't really play to anyone. Like our plan was just to become friends with the venue owner, like just play heaps of gigs, and one day they might give us a Friday slot, you know. And they did, which was an emo night. That's when we met Lost Vessels. And it was like the first time we played to more than 0 people. It was cool. There was like, it was sold out. It was like
this is a very like humbling story to listen to. Yeah,
it was like 300 people there, and I was like, man, like we were so grateful for it. It was so cool. And we weren't really an emo band, but like we're like, yeah, we'll put some emo songs in there. I can't remember what they were, but
like some covers and stuff.
Yeah, I think we might have done like a Paramore song,
yeah,
like Misery Business or something. But
yeah, that just as a 2-piece.
Yeah, we did stuff like that, and it was really fun, and it was the first time we like played to a crowd outside of just a few people. So yeah, it was really cool. And then from there we started gigging pretty much every week, and you know, sooner or later you just start getting asked to do shows because you're out there so much. And then that's kind of I think that's how you start a band, is just kind of keep going, right? You just keep being persistent, and one day it will just get better and better as you go.
It does. And it's like, just like the whole process gets smoother. Not just like how good you are at gigs, but then, you know, once you learn, releasing songs, recording, and then promotion and all that stuff, you know, it's a lot to learn. I mean, yeah, I've been playing music since I was like 15 and, well, almost 30. But I'm so like, you know, all those years as well, like, you know, I suppose, yeah, just like trying to learn about how it all works and what works, what doesn't work, and like but ultimately the biggest takeaway is like do I love doing it?
Yeah,
because that's the biggest takeaway.
That's kind of
you can put in all this effort, all this time, all this money, or traveling like you're doing from where you are, but if your heart's not in it, it's
it can be a drag.
It can be drag. So but you're in it, man, so that's cool. So there's a 2-piece. You play the bass.
Yep.
And drummer, so that, a little bit of Royal Blood setup going on there. It's
Absolutely,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
What made you do that? What made you want to do like the 2-piece with a bass and no guitarist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a friend in our band back when I was in a band called Dank. It was called Shameless Ambitions, and we were doing Smoke Free Rock Quest the first year, and then
a band called doing Dank on. Did we call Dank at Smoke Free Rock Quest?
We were called Dank at Smoke Free Rock Quest.
I like that.
Yeah. So
I love it.
We did Smoke Free Rock Quest, and one of the members, we were a 3-piece originally. One of the members, our good friend Max, went over to Japan, and we're like, what are we gonna do? And my mate Liam's like, you could just do what the Royal Blood things does, because he introduced me to Royal Blood, and I was like, that's a good idea. Let's see how much octave pedals cost. And
I'll be 2 band members.
We'll do that. And so I was working at the time, and I bought like a Electro Harmonix Pog, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And I also got I got a bass. I saved up my money for that, and I borrowed his dad, Jason. His dad was like a big influence on music for us and me specifically, and like he let me borrow some of his pedals for the Smoke Free Rock Quest event, and yeah, we didn't get very far. We got to the regional finals, but
well done.
it was pretty cool.
Further than I ever got. We didn't even get past the first round when I did it.
It's rough, eh? It can be like it can be so disheartening losing those competitions.
Yeah. I think it depends on, I don't know, if you the quality of the band, but then I also think if you got like people in the audience who like you, I think that makes a big difference as well.
Yeah, it was something that taught me. I got less bitter about it as I got older, but you know what I mean?
At the time?
Yeah, at the time I was
felt
like, yeah,
Fuck, man.
I felt that shit, man. It sucks.
We put in so much work.
Yeah. So that's how we got into the two-piece thing. And yeah, I've always kind of just had that rig lying around. It was always kind of just like something I really liked. Royal Blood was a massive influence on me, and Nirvana's a massive influence on me. So I would say that the Boondocks is just like the combination of Royal Blood and just like heaviness.
Yeah.
And bands like Cleopatra are a massive influence to me. And so, yeah, I guess that's kind of where the two-piece thing came from, is just Liam introducing it and me also finding other bands and trying to make it not Royal Blood. You know what I mean? Doing a two-piece thing can be very easy to make Royal Blood.
Yeah, especially when you're doing like the whole octave pedals and you're doing that. Because also there's two other bands that actually they don't do the Royal Blood thing. They have like guitars, so they do like the White Stripes thing. So like Sun Gods do it, and also
Skinny Hobos.
Skinny Hobos, yeah.
Yeah, we did a show with Skinny Hobos.
Oh,
it was
cool.
really cool. Yeah, we went to Toshiro Street down in Tauranga.
Oh, Total Street's mean. I played there.
Yeah.
It's a fucking nice venue.
We're lucky because we got on the rock with our song alone.
Yeah,
And
well done.
Yeah, thanks. We sent that off to Did Favors, and I was like, "Can we open up for you guys?" And he's like, "Yeah, are you willing to come to the Mount?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I am." And so we went to the Mount, and it was a cool show, man. It was like, I don't know if it was sold out, but there would have been like 500 people there. It was wicked, and it was super. It was one of the best experiences ever. And then they actually got us to play in there on Hamilton as well. So
wicked.
Yeah, it was really cool meeting like Alex and Sam from Skinny Hobos, because they were a big influence on us too.
Yeah. I did a podcast with Sam. Used to have his own podcast.
Did he?
Yeah, it's called the Bang On Podcast.
Oh, true.
Yeah, back like. Yeah, so that was when I was in Animoya's metal band I was in.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they've been going for a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting. You have like a gig of like you three guys, and it'll be like three bands, and then it will be like all these two pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you said your main influences, so Royal Blood, and so what was the other band you mentioned?
Nirvana.
Nirvana, and that sort of stuff. So mainly the grunge kind of hard rock, groove rock stuff.
Yeah. Definitely. Brandon's a little bit different. He likes sort of he really likes Foo Fighters. His drumming is super like
Taylor Hawkins.
Super Taylor in a good way, in a great way.
He's a great drummer. Rest in peace.
Lots of definitely.
Did you ever get to see them live?
Yeah, I saw them live when they released Sonic Highways, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that was a great concert. Rise Against and Miss June were on that one.
Oh yeah, Miss June. I forgot about that.
It was the first concert I went to, actually.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, it was a
good
real
concert.
cool.
Yeah, Rise Against. I never saw them live. They've been here quite a few times. I've never seen them.
Yeah, I was a real big sorry.
No,
I was a real big Rise Against fan growing up too, so it was awesome to see them.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. They're coming back with Blink-182.
Yeah, they're doing that gig at there'll be Spark. That's right, because the Blink's all back together now with Tom, which is pretty buzzy.
Yeah, I actually want to go to that, but apparently tickets are.
Oh, they're crazy expensive.
Are they like $400?
I don't know if it's $400, but it's something stupid.
Yeah. Tickets can get pretty pricey. Do
you reckon Spark are taking merch cuts?
Absolutely.
They probably are.
I don't get merch cuts. Can someone explain to me why merch cuts is even a thing?
I don't really know if it happens that much in New Zealand. I don't know enough about it in like the local. I don't think it from what I know, I don't know about it happening in the local scene in New Zealand. Yeah. But in America, it's become like a really big thing. And I think in Europe. So it's sort of like taking a percentage of like if you want to put up a merch stand at a gig, the venue will take away a percentage of the merch. Sometimes, which is fucking crazy.
Sometimes bands even were like, yeah, if you want to open up for us and you want to sell merch, we want 10% of that.
Yeah, it's
like,
ridiculous.
Cool, you're not even paying me to
play the gig. Yeah,
and like
have you had that?
No, but
You've heard about it.
I know people have. I did a gig recently with a band who had that happen to them. I won't say who,
that's cool.
But they were just like, they took like
God.
10% or something.
I've never had that. Fuck, if I had that, I'd be furious. Luckily, I've never had that. Obviously, playing free gigs and doing all that. I mean, one of the weirdest ones I played, I remember there was a gig I organised. Funnily enough, at UFO. This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a guy who was meant to he was meant to be the organizer, but he didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And I organised all the bands, the time, and I think all he did was phone up the venue for the day. And I remember at the end of the gig, I won't say who it is, and I remember at the end of the gig, he comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, can I get my cut?" And I'm like,
I think I know.
And I'm like, "For what?" And he's like, "Oh, because I made the phone call and stuff." And I'm just like, bro.
I think I know who this is. There are so many scumbags in the New Zealand music.
You know what's
scene.
funny? We made we made a bit of we made fuck all money. Let's be honest, probably $100 or $200 profit.
Yeah.
The gig was paid for, but then the profit on top was fuck all.
Yeah.
And I was going to give it to the band, which I did.
Yeah.
But then he came up and then asked for some money, and I remember just being like, fine.
And it's a free to rent venue.
Yeah, I know.
It's free to hire.
I know. It was hilarious. I'll never forget it.
Fuck that guy, man.
I'll never forget it. And it was fuck all. It was for fuck all money as well. It was for nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you really want to get that piece, eh?
Yeah. It's depressing. There's so many. It's quite a common thing. There's a lot of.
It's a really weird thing to do, especially in New Zealand. In America, because it's so big. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I can see maybe why.
Yeah.
And how you can maybe get away with it. But in New Zealand, bro, we're too small.
Yeah, man.
Word travels way too fast, especially in a local rock metal scene and stuff. Word travels so quick.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to get away with
fuck
that.
around, find out, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's...
I always find that behavior really weird, especially in a small scene.
Yeah.
I find that bizarre. It's really? You're going to do something cheeky?
It's not a...
People are going to find out. It's not a business.
Yeah. It's not a place to be. You can't afford to be a douchebag in a small country. You know? You literally can't. You can't get away with trying to come across.
Well, especially in a small scene.
Yeah,
I just find it really weird. But yeah, it's funny when that shit happens.
Yeah,
for sure. That was one of the weirdest ones. I think at the time I wasn't extremely mad. I was more just kind of flabbergasted. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
you really just want that little cut.
Yeah,
but, yeah. Unfortunately, it happens.
I did it. We had a gig. I won't say too much, but we had a gig and 150 people turned up.
Oh well, cool.
And it was cool, but no one paid us to organize it. We organized it.
Yeah.
Did all the promotion.
Yep.
And the event person didn't pay us, and that was
they didn't pay you
at all.
What venue can you say or no?
Nah, probably not.
No, all good.
But they when I chased them up, they're like, "Oh, we'll give you beer vouchers," and I was
for fuck's sake.
I was shot, bro, shot. And I told Brandon, he's like, "No, that's pretty mean." I'm like, "Bro, you can't beer vouchers." It's cool. We get one. I think it was one free meal and one beer, and I actually just told him, "No, fuck off. I'm not doing that."
Yeah, good on you, bro.
Yeah,
good to have you gotta have a bit of backbone. Musicians get fucked over way too much.
Honestly,
this happens too much. I mean, it's even interesting what happens on obviously the whole streaming thing. Obviously, I've talked about that on here a little bit, but
the 0.004 cents a stream,
pretty much.
Yeah.
But I think the other one I found really fascinating was really huge artists, right? Not that I'm a crazy Taylor Swift fan, but she. What was that thing? She re-recorded all their stuff and re-released it because the record label... She didn't own any of it, basically.
The record label owned all of it.
But I wonder how that negotiation went on in the beginning, though.
Probably we're going to take advantage of this person who dreams...
But wasn't her parents involved?
Probably.
Yeah.
A lot of famous musicians, I think there's less and less musicians these days coming from real rugged backgrounds, and a lot of people that are massive.
She's rich. She was always rich.
Yeah, here's her hometown. Here's her
Oh, it's so hard, man.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some rappers potentially, but even definitely. Then, I think that's you got to be in a gang or something. I'm pretty sure.
With rappers,
you got the gang promotion.
I believe, Treyway. I believe with rappers, it's also an entirely different issue, a social issue in itself, is that they've given people from the O Block or real poor, destitute areas, here's $1 million, record some music, and they just spend it up because the whole thing is that you got to pay that loan back.
Yeah.
And they've never
Yeah.
seen money like that before. I mean, if you gave me $1 million, I would be so like, what the fuck do I do with this?
Yeah, well, that's what happens to so many, to loads of young bands as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, to rappers especially, so you get people who, their concept of money, it's like, especially with that much money,
It's so
they
sad.
don't know
man.
what to do. And that's why all these drug overdoses and all this crazy shit happens, because people's backgrounds are, messed up, and people don't know how to handle
Fame.
what they're going through, fame or attention or sneaky business tactics. And it's like, yeah.
It's super sad, man. It's so sad. Like, you give, like, there's a thing that Dave Grohl said. He's like, I feel sorry for Justin Bieber. He's a 13-year-old and you just gave him like $40 million. It's like, yeah, man, that would, it's cool. Like, getting that money would be wicked. But, like, what comes with that money would suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, everyone wants you. You don't understand. You don't get it.
Yeah. You don't get it unless you get it, right?
Yeah, and people are sneaky, man.
Yeah.
People want that money. People will use you just to get a few bucks out of you if they can.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
That's something I've learned.
The thing, like, when like the Boondocks started doing well, my dad would always be like, "Oh, people at work are always being like, oh, your son must be making some money." And I'm like, "Nah, I made $18 from my last gig. What are you talking about?"
Hey, bro, you made $18.
And I split it between the two of us. Thank
Yeah.
fuck we're a two-piece band.
Yeah, I mean, what's that? That's like not even like a few burgers at Macca's, I think. But
That's nothing. I think it's honestly, it's like a pie and a drink from a Z station.
yeah,
Just.
isn't that crazy, bro? Like pies were like $2 for like the longest time.
Living Crisis
Now
is-
it's fucking $4.70 or something.
Living Crisis is actually feral, eh?
It is so bad. But I don't know, like imagine surviving being a musician. I don't know how you do it. I wouldn't know how you do it.
I don't think you would.
I don't think you can. I think
I literally, unless you start a covers band and you just gig at weddings every
every
day.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
You might be alright. Maybe.
Maybe you might be able
That's
to,
probably the only, or like a music teacher, maybe.
but you wouldn't
but
make
you-
enough to feed your family if you had one.
Fuck no.
Like
And
you
then, like,
absolutely couldn't.
nah. Isn't that weird?
I'm one minor inconvenience away. Like if my anything in my rig at all breaks down, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
How am I gonna pull together enough money to replace that pedal or like my
Yeah.
bass or like buy new bass strings? That costs like $70 a pack.
That's why, that's kind of why I've been thinking why more people have. No, I don't know if that's why more people, but like the shift more like I think to the last 10 years maybe of like rap is because maybe gear just got too expensive.
Maybe.
Cost of living.
I
And
think
things like that. I mean, cost of living, depends on where you want to measure it from. Like 2008 or something, I don't know. But from what I see, it's like the whole DJing thing. Like, I've made a little bit of electronic music and dabbled in a few things, and I see the not appeal, but the cost effectiveness of doing stuff like that. It's like, making a rap beat. Like, yes, obviously you can buy the plugins, but who buys plugins, bro? Just download
yeah.
them, Pirate Bay, yo.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever site you can find. And then you just kind of just put some loops together and there's your track, and then old mate who your friend or somebody can rap, and they do a rap and there's a song.
Yeah. Creative people will always find a way to
Yeah, exactly.
make something new. Like,
But then I think like the whole instrument, like getting like a bass strings, an amp, and leads, and
Yeah.
guitars or drums, and drums are just pouring money away, bro. It's just like,
and you
I'm happy I'm
lose.
never a drummer.
We bought a drum kit, and you lose parts for it, man. Like,
Yeah, especially if you gig with it.
yeah, man. I like lost a whole tom and like tom arms and stands and
Yeah,
and
it's like gold.
the venue would be like half of the time they don't supply like a backline, so you have to bring your own drum kit. And then
Yep.
one day we went to a gig, and I won't say where, but we had to supply a drum kit, and we brought it all the way from a Fudu. We brought it, and there was a stand fell on it on the way in, and it went through the kick.
Oh,
And it was just like, cool, we fucked it. We fucked it for everyone tonight. But it's just like, this shouldn't be on me, because
Yeah.
I feel like the venue should probably supply a back line, because
Yeah.
it's a lot to haul,
Yeah, of course, especially coming from but it's funny like venues. In Australia, I've seen a couple like where local bands would play. Oh man, it's like night and day. They provide so much more.
Yeah.
Like, venues, it was just small. I think there's just also this mentality in New Zealand of like you kind of just bring along. It's sort of like we'll make it work, and venues are just like well, if you want to play here, you gotta supply everything. And
You got to supply the lights, the PA.
yeah. I've done those gigs for sure.
And then-
I remember I've had to repair gear at gigs. I've done that, like all venues gigs, or I've had to like swap out stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, It can be frustrating for sure, but at a small level, it's like also these gigs don't always bring in money. Like not always for the bar.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You got to think about it in like the venue's perspective of like
At
obviously
least they supply like a PA, right? Like
at least a PA.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
mic
that's-
stands would be nice, or a drum riser would be nice.
yeah,
A
yeah.
drum riser that isn't going to collapse.
A little
I've
bit of
had
a
that
stage?
Before. Had
Yeah.
that before. Or a stage, a little stage.
A little stage,
Yeah.
at least a mil off the ground.
Mm.
Anything.
Yeah, I've done a few. I'm sure you have done a few floor gigs as well.
Yeah, yeah. Floor gigs are the go. That's the one.
They are fun. In a heavy band, they're fun as fuck.
To be honest, I do. When I've played on like elevated stages, I get real nervous, and I don't know what it is. When I'm playing on the ground, it's
Yeah.
not so
Well,
bad.
you feel at level with the audience. I think maybe it's like a subconscious
Yeah.
thing. You're elevated. You're more seen. you
Like
know,
Totra
things like
Street
that.
and Last Place Bar is probably the most nervous I've been at gigs.
Oh, really? Yeah, Totra Street is it's a great. I can see why.
It was that was a crazy cool gig. That was probably one of the highlights of my life.
I'd love to go play Totra Street again. That's fucking awesome.
It was great. We did sound check and it was like, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
this is wicked.
Have you been to Napier? Played in Napier?
Nah, so we've only played in Auckland, Hamilton, and Tauranga.
Oh, we're in Hamilton.
Navarra Lounge and Last Place.
Navarra Lounge. Oh, last place. Oh, you never did that. What was it called? What was that Irish pub?
Oh yeah, I know the one down.
I forgot the name of it. I
yeah.
played a gig with that with Korean. That was funny.
Yeah, I mean Hamilton goes off. Hamilton's pretty cool.
Yeah, they appreciate it. I think when bands
Yeah.
come from Auckland, come down.
Yeah, I think they just appreciate live music as well. I feel like there's only a few places maybe you see original bands in Hamilton, you know, like a few venues, but they usually turn up for it. I did a pajama gig there
Oh yeah.
in February, and it was like one of the first gigs I ever organized. I did it with Static and Pink Plates, and
Yep.
and we were doing this gig, and yeah, we did pajama, and like 70 people turned up, which doesn't sound like
stuff.
it was pretty mean
Nah,
though.
bro. If it's more than like, in my opinion, more than 50,
Yeah, pretty good, right?
pretty fucking good.
It was a cool night.
For a
and-
local gig, man, more than 50 is good.
Yeah,
In my book.
we're doing another gig soon. It's our first gig since Brandon broke his leg. So Brandon broke his leg about 6 weeks ago, but he's kind of drumming again.
Yeah.
And
what
he-
happened?
Um,
Drumming accident?
nah. He's gonna be so mad at me for saying this, but he was jumping down a sand dune for some fucking
yeah.
reason, and his leg got stuck in the sand, I believe, and it just like
Oh.
wrenched it, and he broke it right up by the knee. But he's walking. He was never put in a cast. He was walking about a week ago or two,
Yeah.
and he's doing pretty good. And last night we went to the jam shed up in Afidu, and yeah, he was drumming yesterday, and it went pretty good.
Oh, wow.
It definitely went really well. And so, yeah, we're doing a show there with our mate Doug Menzies. He's organising his first ever event, I think. He's doing a thing called Doug Fest. It's for his birthday, and he's getting like 10 bands and just hiring Last Place Bar, and he's just doing all this like good shit for people.
Okay. Where's last place?
Last Place, it's gosh, I'm not too familiar with Hamilton, but you know where Navarra lounges and
Kind of. And
Yeah.
visualizing it, yeah.
and there's like a pedestrian crossing, and then there's another pedestrian crossing, and then there's just a straight road. I don't know if I'm describing this right, but it's down the road on the right hand side.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a pretty big venue. I think it's like probably 150, 200 people capacity.
Is it quite new?
It might be.
I've never heard of it.
It's pretty good. They do good burgers, but yeah,
wicked.
it's Doug's. It's got mean audio system and everything.
Nice.
Doug's organizing that, and he's got like Melanie playing and Cutie Cuties and all these New Zealand bands. He's got Stray Dogs coming, and yeah, it's real cool. It's amazing that he's put it together so well. You know, like yeah, dude's a legend. Shout out to Doug.
Wicked. Who does your guys' recordings?
Scott Seabright, another Scott.
I know Scott Seabright.
He's the man. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he reached out to us through Lorenzo, from Silkro. And so he asked Silkro, like, do you know any bands? And he's like, yeah, check out the Boondocks. Because we're playing heaps. And so our name kind of got out there, and he came and he kind of messaged us being like, hey, I want to do a recording with you guys. Are you guys keen? And we just like, I think it was just like 50-50 royalty split or something for free recording. And I was like, checked out his profile, and he did recordings with like Alien Weaponry, and he's worked with Shihad, and
He's done lots of stuff.
heaps of stuff, man. And it was
He used to be at York Street back in the day, because I was in a band where we recorded at York Street. Luckily, I got to record there, and he was there.
Yeah,
he's really good.
He's super good, man. And he was like, yeah, I really want to. I think it's cool that you guys are doing a 2-piece thing, and we recorded alone with him, and yeah, he produced it, and it was so easy. It was so easy on our behalf. We just like, I felt like he did so much work for it. It was just, he's the man. He's so fun. He's so cool to like hang out with and just like banter with. And yeah, he recorded alone, and then we liked it a lot. We sent it to the Rock. It got on the Rock, and our band sort of started doing real well. Well, not doing real well, but you know what I mean. Like, it was getting traction. And so we recorded another couple songs. We got a song coming out soon called Black Taxi, which is a song me and Brandon wrote. It was like the first song we wrote together.
Yep.
Super high energy, sort of, definitely like a punk track. And so we're releasing that on October 6th. That's coming out. And yeah, he recorded that and a song which I won't name, but it's about the living crisis. We're kind of trying to put together an EP at the moment.
5 songs?
4 or 5,
4 or
yeah.
5? Yeah, that's good. That's good length.
And so, yeah, he's kind of just become our producer that way. And he's really good. He knows exactly how we want to sound. We record at his place in Pocono, and it sounds awesome. Real drums, real instruments. And yeah, he's really good. He's super good at what he does. I definitely recommend Scott to pretty much any band. If a band's like, oh, how did you get your recording done? I always just be like, just go to. How do you get your song on the Rock? It's like, go to a producer that's like, like it's a big thing. You got to have like a producer that's got a name for himself. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Rock and like getting on like a lot of New Zealand radio is always very difficult.
Yeah.
For a lot of bands, so I commend you for that, because
thanks.
Even like it also depends what genre you do. I think the genre that you guys do, it's quite the rock. It's the rock sound
friendly.
Yeah. I think like Horaki's an interesting one because that could go either way.
Horaki did have a song, but they didn't play us heaps. But we're hoping they'll play this next song.
Well, your name's there, so I mean that's already like
that's good,
pretty awesome in that way.
I always wanted to get on BFM. Like BFM was like my goal, and I've never got on BFM.
I remember I tried to get on BFM as well. It didn't happen.
I'm just like, come on, but I'm in chats with them at the moment, so we might go on their show for like the Fancy New Band segment or something.
Cool.
And yeah, I mean, I love BFM, and it's definitely like easily one of the biggest radio stations, right? It's gotta be.
For sure.
It's everyone listens to it.
A lot. If they listen to radio, radio's a funny one. Like with the talking about it now, like talking about like the Rock and Hierarchy and all that, getting on the stations. But they still have like a hold on I guess like a part of the population of New Zealand, people who listen to it. You know, especially like tradies and stuff.
Yeah.
People who are driving around in vans or, doing that kind of work or even on the iHeartRadio, sitting in your cubicle listening to the radio. I know some people still do that.
Yeah, exactly. So
good stuff, man. It's fucking cool because, a lot of bands I know, especially when I was playing, like everyone was trying and no one was getting anywhere. But that could be a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just... I felt real weird about it because we're this real new band and we released our song after being a band for like 7 months or whatever we were. Releasing a song gets on the Rock, and we're doing.
It's a sign, man.
And people are like, "Bro, how the fuck did you do it?" And it's just like, I'm super grateful that it happened, but it's just like the song's like produced by someone, and it's not as much about like just having a good enough song. You have to have like a plan about it. You got to have like someone that you got to make connections. You got to network, and you got to work hard and gig. And like initially, I never really wanted to record at our band unless someone approached us, which happened thankfully. But I was like, I just want to be a live band.
Yeah.
And then Scott approached us, and we recorded. And it's so much. It's worth it to just go through a producer instead of doing a DIY sort of sound, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think so anyway.
You get the best results out of your performance as well on the song.
Well,
recording.
Yeah, and these people like their job is to listen to music and judge it. And if it's worthy enough to get on the radio, like I think there should be a lot more music from our country on the radio. Personally, like I'm not
so do
saying
I.
not anything against garage recordings, but those people are looking for something that is like,
Professionally produced.
yeah, not that it's a bad thing to record lo-fi, but if your goal is to get on the radio, you should get it probably produced
Yeah.
professionally.
Yeah. There's a lot to it being produced. Like I think you do learn a lot as well.
Yeah,
I've learned so much from recording. So much. Every time I go and I learn something new, especially about myself or about how I haven't recorded in a few years. Last one we had Zoran on here.
Yeah.
You know who he is. Yeah, he's an amazing producer as well. And yeah, just sort of how he recorded us, it was just awesome. Just a great experience. So chill, easy going. Like,
you don't lose hair over it, right? It's such a. The problem I've had with mixing bands before was with recording, because I did it at home. It's just pleasing everyone.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's super.
And the band, yeah, everyone's got opinions.
Yeah, no one's
like a 4 or 5 way marriage, depending on how many people you got.
Yeah, like you can't make everyone 100% happy. Everyone's kind of going to be iffy about it.
Yeah.
For it to go out, and that's not what you want.
No. Yeah, well, that's why it's always good to get another opinion on it, especially with someone who it's like, oh, he's detached from us, or they're attached from us. You know, like they're not a part of what they're not in what we're doing. So it's good to have other ears and other insight, especially from somebody who knows a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it also helps with songwriting in the future. The more you work with a producer, the more you'll learn how to produce music on your. Not saying that I will ever be able to do what Scott Seabright does at all, but I can make it easier on myself going into the studio. Like he's told me like, oh, you know, things about like. Things you don't really think about when you're going into a studio. The first time going into a studio, it's like, all right, what drum beat are we playing? And it's like, man, we never really actually discussed the exact drum beat we're going to play. Like, we kind of just, just...
Or like, what time signature is that in?
Yeah, and like, what tempo do you want to play it in? And we got to stick it to that tempo. And what, like, all these things, like, things that, I mean, people probably think about, but if you get what I mean, like... What a big part of producing is what can I take away from the song. A huge part of it. And so you take heaps of segments out and trying to make it not super repetitive. And so when you write a song, if I write a song now, I'm always thinking of like, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that.
How to push the song.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, like speaking of the repetitive part, you can argue now with a lot of music, even when I listen to stuff if it's new music, not really with rock. Actually, no, with rock as well. It's like the whole like Machine Gun Kelly sort of like pop punk stuff, and lots of people been influenced by that. It's an interesting knock-on effect.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is like a lot of bands will have like 2-3 chords for like the whole song.
Yeah.
I mean, you can argue that that's been happening for a long time, but it's interesting like listening to this happening almost again. Like there's almost sometimes no chorus.
Yeah.
I've heard a few of like these like almost like, what would you call it? Like shoegaze. I don't even know. Like, it's not shoegaze. It's like
Midwest emo.
It's not, but it's like really straightforward, like super straightforward.
Yeah.
Because when I think of Midwest, I think of like American football, which is
definitely.
like fucking math
That's
rock
not
eventually.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Are you talking about Machine Gun Kelly sort of stuff? How it's just that repetitive?
It's like that sort of style. Like I've heard like the vocalist is kind of in the same key. Like, and like the chord progressions, like maybe like 2 chords, maybe.
Maybe it's just finding something that's like, that's really good. Let's just give the listener that thing that sounds really good.
Yeah,
but
it's that real repetitiveness, which I find interesting. Because obviously, we are living in times now of even like, we all have like the attention span probably less than a goldfish now.
Yeah.
Definitely. I would argue. And like, I guess from like the EDM stuff, like watching that, how repetitive EDM gets. But then it's sort of... I felt like that got exhausted, but then it's still sort of, it's kind of like the hip hop stuff has now got even more repetitive.
Yeah.
As well. And like even like I listen to like whatever you want to call that new type of shoegaze rock or whatever the fuck it is. It even happens there. I'm like, are we going to keep going down this as well?
Probably.
I don't know. It's like, yeah, well, maybe. Because it's like writing catchy songs. I heard a really interesting take by... I can't remember who it was, some music critic now, like with I hate using like Gen Z or millennials, but Gen Z or like younger. And it's like a lot of the discussion now, it's like catchy lyrics, of course, are catchy and people like them, but it's about like the mood and vibe of the song is now the catchy part.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I've heard that being thrown around a bit.
Giving people the feeling of something. Yeah.
So it's like the catchiness. I mean, this is just something I've heard. Whether or not it's completely true, I don't know. It's just something I didn't think about until I heard it. And I
It's
was
like a lot of songs blowing up at the moment that were famous in like 2000 in the early 2000s, like Limp Bizkit's really popping off again. And
yeah, that's hilarious.
yeah, man.
I used to love them when they were fucking not like I wasn't in high school in the early 2000s, but when I listened to them, like that whole thing had like that wasn't cool.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Limp Bizkit. I know what effect it had, like, on my brothers. I mean, I was a child, but, like, all my older brothers were like...
Yeah, all about it.
Yeah, I mean, and all their friends were all about... Everyone was about it, you know? You had the chain, the wallet chain.
Yeah.
And,
camo
like,
pants.
yeah, camo pants, the big, undone, like, DC shoes, you know? And,
yeah.
And anyway, I think what it is just... They're listening. People like nowadays are listening to Limp Bizkit, and it reminds them when they're a child, so they have like a nostalgic feeling.
But is that being passed on though? Do you reckon like passed down to like younger?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, because obviously an average Limp Bizkit fan who was like at the, like what was it 2000 basically. So you'd probably be you'd almost be either like late 30s or in your 40s now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think like because when I listened to them. I discovered them a bit later. I discovered them... Oh, it's alright. Just one of the cameras. It's alright. As long as these two are still going, that's all that matters.
Sweet.
Yeah, super professional. That's how it works, man. Just the go bro is no going.
No more.
What was I saying? Oh, Limp Bizkit, that's right. Yeah, because I discovered them, I think it was like the mid-2000s, like... I think I discovered them through wrestling. I can't even remember.
Yeah, SmackDown versus Raw.
I was really young. And then I didn't really think... And then Behind Blue Eyes, that cover, which, you know, you could say is not the best, but... I heard them through that. And then I listened to them, like, Korn, that whole nu metal thing I got into, which was already past kind of when it was
cool.
At the hype of cool. And then... everyone was listening to like email, metalcore, like I guess I'm kind of like a data remember. If you like all that stuff was fucking huge.
Yeah, I was my older relatives were into all that stuff, but I was born in '99, so I was a bit young. Like I remember my brothers being into, well, they were kind of even before that. That kind of happened between me and my brother's ages, I guess. How like my brother was really into Green Day.
Oh yeah, Green Day, yeah.
And so that was like his thing.
Yeah, well, the American Idiot thing's really interesting. So when that album dropped, I was really young. I can't remember how old I was. Must have been like 11 or something.
Yeah.
And I remember like that was really massive. And I actually had no idea that they had previous music before that. I just thought that American Idiot was it's this new band. Obviously, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then that attracted like a whole new generation to Green Day, which was my generation, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then, but it's been interesting. Like I guess watching. Like what becomes like in time like cool and uncool, and then because like what I find hilarious now is like at the probably from the end of my high school or beginning of uni, LMFAO was like one of like the biggest things. Or we talked about this with Finger Tight, and it was hilarious. But I look back on a lot of that EDM stuff, and I just crack up. I'm like, fuck, this is bad. But it was everywhere at the time. It was super popular.
They did this song that's like shut.
Oh yeah, Lil Jon, man.
I fucking hate that
what
song.
A tune. Lil Jon's funny, man. He's a massive metalhead. You know that?
A lot of them are like Post Malone's.
He like sampled Crazy Train in one of his songs.
Oh really?
I mean, it's not that great, but it's sweet as.
Heaps of people like Lil Uzi Vert did a song recently.
Did a metal song.
He did Chop Suey. It's horrific. But
but he did it though, right?
He did it. He done it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What I found interesting lately was Polyphia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a few rappers on there, and like really heavy as well. Like real heavy guitars, and like it was like metal guitars, and like these like real, I don't know, I can't remember their names, but that was interesting. And then they had they also had like a pop song on there. Really, it wasn't called ABC. It's a fucking awesome song, but that's also like math rock pop song, which is like wow, I didn't know that could happen, but it did. It's pretty sick. But it's interesting, like I guess I always find looking at those sorts of music trends, what decides to come back around later. Like, who would have thought Limp Bizkit in 2023 would be cool?
Yeah, heaps of stuff like that.
Especially like like Deftones is another one.
Deftones, like
on the whole TikTok thing.
Cherry Waves.
I hear about it. Yeah,
Cherry Waves just like instantly, and I mean Nirvana's always been popular, but Something in the Way became super big.
From the Batman movie.
Yeah. But then it just
Bring Me the Horizon got a weird smash of popularity as well from Can You Feel My Heart.
Basement, they've got a song that's blowing up at the moment.
I don't know, Basement.
Basement's a shoegaze band.
Okay.
They did a song, and it's huge on TikTok at the moment.
Yeah, what was the rapper or artist who played a gig and because he had like one song that blew up like massively on TikTok, but people only knew like one section of the song? Have you heard about this?
No,
Oh, he played
not Central C.
No, it's not Central C. It's like I can't remember the rapper's name, but basically what happened was that he played this gig and people only knew one section of his song and everyone was kind of there for that one section.
Oh,
But then the rest of the set, no one knows. It's like almost going like Vanilla Ice. You only know Ice Ice Baby, but you don't know the rest of it.
Yeah.
But it was like even within, like, you only know people only came along and knew like one part of the song. I can't remember what his name was. Sorry,
There's
I don't know the context, but I found that quite interesting.
there's a artist called Pink Pantheress, and she does a song, and literally like I remember there's this like video of her doing a song called, I think it's called Just For Me, and people only know that one part of that song, and it was huge. I believe, but I could be a little bit wrong. But yeah, it's just, man, I would hate my band to like have one section of a song.
Only one section.
Yeah, just like one part of the song.
It's like one hit wonders, but imagine one section hit wonder.
Yeah, like a one verse wonder.
And not even a chorus.
Yeah, not a chorus.
Oh.
Ain't no way. But
It's just yeah, that's funny, eh?
I do actually like where rap is at the moment compared to where it used to be. I don't really like the whole like Flow Rider and Pitbull sort of vibe. Not gonna lie.
Not a fan of Getting Low, bro?
No, I did not like the Aha sample.
Apple bottom jean boots, you went about that life?
Not real. No, not for real. No. But,
What about that? Fair enough.
But I think rap's in like a real for a while there. Like when I went to high school, like all that sad boy rap was real popular, and I was a victim of sad boy rap.
Yeah.
I loved that shit.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of left and progressed into like another thing now. But I quite like how like melodic and melancholic it can be. Sometimes like minimalist. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's interesting watching British rap get real popular as well.
Drill? No,
Yeah,
last year, man,
that
just
drill, yeah.
bumping UK drill all the
was
time.
Massive.
Grime.
Especially like, I went to listen in last year and I saw, like a bunch of those guys and I was like, this is like become a real thing.
Yeah.
Well, in New Zealand anyway, but it's like a lot of it had been around for ages. I mean, Dizzy Rascal, that sort of, he's not drill, but I guess the grime drill kind of, it's all in that world, right?
Yeah, I can't even remember many grime rappers, but I was real into grime, and Australia's kind of has its own drill scene now, like with hooligan hips and stuff.
Super
and,
Aussie
yeah.
rapper. It's fucking hilarious.
But is rap really a big thing in this country?
Yeah. It is. It is really popular.
Like, you got Scribe.
Oh, bro, fucking oath. So I guess for last time I remember like a local artist being in the 2000s. It was huge. So
Yeah.
there was like obviously Scribe. There was like Nesian Mystic, and then there was like Homebrew as well. They were, they were
they're playing
huge.
soon.
They were huge when that album dropped. They're from Avondale, just down the road actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I love that. I didn't like them when I first heard them, but then once I started like listening to a lot of their lyrics, I found it either fucking hilarious or really sad.
Yeah.
They're great, but they're super Kiwi. It's like, which is kind of what I like about it. But I think what's interesting is like it's quite hard. Probably maybe with even the Australian rap stuff, it doesn't quite translate. I think it's quite, I don't know, it's quite hard to translate that overseas.
We got a bit of a...
Like the Kiwi stuff, like it's so niche. Like there's one song, I love the song, it's called The Benefit. I fucking love that song.
Is it by like...
No, by Homebrew.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking awesome. So go check it out. But it just basically talks about bums on the benefit and how they're just lazy shits or whatever. Kind of within that, it's just really funny. But it's like, the way he talks about it and raps about it, probably, unless you're from New Zealand or Australia, it's probably quite hard to kind of maybe understand the nuances or like little...
It's a pretty unattractive accent to listen to, I imagine.
Oh, it can be.
Yeah, I reckon listening to like New Zealand...
Are we the most attractive accent though? That's what I heard.
I think it's the least attractive. It's gotta be.
That great.
It's pretty ugly, man. Like when you listen to American and like TV all the time, it's like I feel like it's very jarring if you're used to listening to... When you hear a New Zealand singing, you can really tell that they're in... And a lot of them will cover it up. Like, I don't think anyone...
Oh, have you heard New Zealanders put on American accents?
No, but it sounds awful.
I mean, it can, if they do it properly. Like, as an example, have you watched the series The Boys?
I've heard of it.
It's great. I think you'd like it.
All right.
But anyway, the main guy... what's Anthony? He was in Outrageous Fortune. I forgot his name. But he's a Kiwi actor who plays Homelander, right? But he puts on a very good American accent. But yeah, there are times. Yeah, I've heard MCs do it. It's
gross.
really it's bad.
It's not the go, right?
Nah, just try and keep it like a bit Kiwi. But it's even like in the UK, like in the 90s, there's a lot of like UK rap. They want to be American.
Yeah,
It sounds terrible.
there's bands like Jet who talk with like an English accent.
Yeah, try and be like that garage rock, like British accent.
It's like
it's
you're
terrible.
from like Sydney.
Yeah, that was a music. I did not like that shit at the time.
What's that? The like Jet and stuff.
Like a lot of those like garage rock bands that came out. There was like Jet, and then there was like White Stripes are alright. I don't mind it, but it just it was like the Strokes.
The Strokes, yeah. I didn't really like the Strokes.
But it was all that kind of genre.
Yeah.
It was just really like, what was it called? It was like, someone had a really good name for it. I think it was like, I heard it on like a music podcast. It was hilarious. But just like, cafe music or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like alternative cafe music.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like it's like garage rock, but it's like not, because it's super like pop friendly and like, I don't know.
Franz Ferdinand sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
That sort of genre.
Yeah.
Some of the songs are okay, but a lot of it's just very like, how would I say, soulless. It just sounds very like
It's like bad.
empty.
It's like bad Weezer.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. For myself, I never really got into it. But yeah, I mean, hey, I used to listen to like loads of like nu metal stuff. So who am I to say?
Yeah, getting me into music, I got like when I got into music, I was real like into Red Hot Chili Peppers was probably one of my I got into the White Stripes and like I said, Nirvana, and then I got like real into death metal. Like
like who? Like old school stuff or new school?
Nah, like
My Art Murder, Whitechapel.
Infant Annihilator.
Oh wow, yeah, we're going right in there. Okay,
yeah,
I know them. Yeah,
that was like my favorite band. I just like
that's heavy, bro.
Yeah, it was like my favorite shit, and I got like really good at guitar because all I do was in practice like
Infant Annihilator,
sweet picking and just tremolo picking, and like all that sort of stuff, and just I was real into it, real into death metal. I did like I really did like Whitechapel and Silosis. They weren't that heavy, but
Silosis, that's what's his name, Josh from Architects.
Yeah, that was really cool. And so I got into death metal quite a lot, and
cool, man.
I really got into like the Auckland death metal scene's really good. Like you got like, well, by death metal I'm gonna blanket it over like slam metal and everything, but like New Zealand hardcore scene's really good as well.
Yeah,
New Zealand's got a really awesome hardcore.
It's kind of made a big comeback. I think the local scene's made a good comeback.
Yeah,
for sure. It kind of died off a little bit, and then now it's come back, I think.
Yeah, there's like real cool slam. Like I know them. But like they were in Silent Torture, and that was really cool.
I know Silent Torture.
Loved Silent Torture, and then they made Parasitic Infestation, and that's like an awesome slam band. So I'm like real into my metal throughout all of high school, and then I leave and I start playing shoegaze. Like
kind of happens though. You end up sort of mixing it up, like Like I think it's good to also listen to lots of different music, take the influence.
It has to be, right?
But then you can take things from death metal and play it in a different way in shoegaze.
Yeah, I mean
you can still do like a death metal thing in shoegaze, but it's like you take a flavor of a guitar style or something, a technique that you learned. I love doing that shit. I love that shit.
One of my biggest regrets was like not giving other music a chance when I was in high school, because I was just like a pig-headed teenager. You know what I mean? Like
I was like that as well.
Like death metal or die. That was it.
Yeah.
I ain't listening to nothing else, and that was it.
Yeah.
And
no, I had something a bit similar.
Yeah,
it's pretty normal.
But it's like, I think that's just a teenage thing, right? What people do in it. I got really into Jeff Buckley and stuff as well. Jeff Buckley's probably my favorite musician.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's great. Definitely need to listen to Jeff Buckley if you haven't.
Yeah, I haven't listened to too much of his stuff, but maybe, I'll give it a listen.
It's pretty wicked.
Cool. Sweet, man. I think we're coming nearish the end, but I guess I generally do like a quick fire question thing. That I just think of on the spot.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll just give you some questions and see how we go.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. All right. You do a bit of recording stuff, eh? You've done a bit?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay.
Just real shit home stuff.
Home stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your is it good something real generic? Mac or PC?
I don't really play any game. So, and because I'm editing most of the time,
Yeah.
Mac.
Mac?
Yeah.
You're a Mac guy? So you
Yeah.
probably use like what? Like
I use Logic. Yeah.
Same, bro. Logic's the bomb.
Logic
Shout out
and
Logic.
yeah, definitely.
Favorite pedal that you use?
Oh, Sansamp.
Sanzam.
Tech 21 Sansamp. Bass driver.
Oh, bass driver.
That shit
pedal.
slaps.
Yeah.
Best thing on my pedal board.
Yeah. You know what I really want someone to say?
What's that?
Like a tuning pedal.
Oh, the Moore tuning pedal
Yeah,
is my
yeah.
favorite pedal.
Like just like the tuning pedal's the best. It's like yeah.
It's pretty good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it is good.
That's funny. What else have I got for you? All right. Favorite. I guess that is a nerdy music question for you. Do you know? Let's see if you know. What's your favorite music key to play in? Do you have a favorite key?
I pretty much always play in E minor.
E minor.
Always happens.
Yeah.
Just always. I think it's because I just like Nutshell by Alice in Chains a lot, which I think is an E minor or something like that. But yeah, definitely E minor.
Underrated. What's a underrated band in your opinion? Can be famous or not famous or local. Can be whatever.
I reckon an underappreciated band because I think they should be like one of the biggest bands in the country. Animal Head.
Animal Head.
Animal Head
yeah,
is
Animal Head.
ridiculously good, and they need to be like. They need to be everywhere. They're fucking awesome. If you haven't seen Animal Head yet,
I have.
to.
Yeah, no,
they're fucking
they're
wild.
cool.
They're cool
Yeah,
guys
cool.
too.
Yeah, no, fun man. That's sick. Let's see if I got anything else I can think off the top of my head. Struggling with this one. Okay. Bass guitar. What's a bass guitar you reckon is overrated? A brand.
Oh,
Since you're a bassist.
I'm a guitarist by trade, but
Yeah.
yeah, I am a bassist
You're a
now.
bassist now, bro.
Gosh, overrated brand of bass. I never really vibed with Gibson basses or
Gibson
like Epi
basses?
basses. Yeah, but I think the best bass brand is Ibanez.
Ibanez.
Yeah,
I've never. Oh.
I
okay.
mean, I play an Ibanez, but I think
I played an Ibanez 5-string. They're fucking great.
bang for buck, and then it's like Warwick or something. They make
Alright, yeah.
awesome basses. Those are the two best bass brands. I know that's not what you asked, but
No, that's cool. No. I like, I like. It's interesting getting different people's perspectives on like gear, especially like music and that, and because it'll, it's just everyone's got certain tastes and different flavors of what they like and what they don't like.
to be fair, I'm friends with Carl from Shehard, Carl Kippenberg,
Oh, cool, man.
and he let me play his Gibson.
Yeah.
And it's like a vintage one. And it was that was sick, man. That was actually sick. So I need to take back my statement. But,
That's all right. We had had JP on here from Swerve City. And
Yeah.
He says he's like PRS is overrated as, and I actually play PRS. But I was just like, oh shit.
were you just clenching your fists?
I was like, how dare you say that? No,
Yeah.
no. But I understand though. I think the PRS is kind of popular. So
I think they're pretty good.
yeah, I love Pro. I die by that. They're fucking great.
Yeah. What's your favorite pedal?
Favorite pedal?
Yeah.
I used to love the RE20 Space Echo pedal.
By
I
Boss?
think I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I've still got it. I had it for so long. I ended up breaking it. I got it fixed, but I don't know. The what I don't like about it now, I think, is the reverb sound on it.
Yeah.
But the delay and stuff's awesome. So good.
Yeah,
I really wanted to get a reverb Sky. What are they called?
Oh, the
Big Sky.
Strymon Big Sky?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue Sky?
Yeah. Oh,
The
you're
blue thing that's
yeah.
like this big.
You did shoegaze, man. You should know all the reverb.
Yeah. I actually never had a reverb because I was the bass player. I'm always the bass player.
Didn't have reverb on the bass.
Nah, my bass rig was like a bass chorus, a Sansamp, a Pog, and like a flanger.
That does make sense.
Yeah,
though.
it was kind of my thing.
I remember I saw a guitarist have 2 reverb pedals, and I was like, that's okay.
Yeah, why not, right? I've never really played around with reverb or delay, but I mean,
I guess with what you guys do, probably maybe in the recording process you could.
we
but,
do use delay and reverb in the recording process.
I was gonna ask you. This isn't quick fire, but I'm just like with the recording process. There's no guitar on it at all, or did you guys?
all
nothing?
recorded how we do it live.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
it gives the guitar like a real Queens of the Stone Age type vibe.
Yeah.
Like that real ugly. I mean, the theory is why I don't play guitar in my band is because I prefer a good bass tone than a good guitar tone. If you know, I think
okay,
I
fair
think
enough.
I think a really fat bass
Yeah.
tone is like the key to having a good rock sound, personally. And you can have any piece of shit guitar sound on that, and it'll sound great if your bass tone sounds good.
Interesting.
That's my hot take.
That is a hot take.
Yeah.
I quite like it.
Yeah,
Some people argue a good kick.
Yeah, I mean,
Some people argue a good distorted guitar sound.
Yeah, I mean, whose guitar's gonna sound good if it's got a shit bass tone though?
Well, I mean, you could argue a lot of albums have bad bass tones and have good guitar tones.
And
on.
Justice for All.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah,
That's one.
That's
not a bass tone. It's just no bass.
Yeah,
That's not even a bass tone sort of thing, is it?
It's
really?
pretty rough, eh? Like,
yeah, it's pretty rough.
Bass is definitely to me, bass is probably the most important part of the sound. Not so, like I think drums and bass, but I think bass.
Well, they carry everything.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
tone-wise?
I mean, I'm a guitarist, so I'm biased as fuck, but I also have played a lot of bass. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I love a good warm bass sound, but
I like it twangy. I like that shit.
You like the twangy?
Yeah, like not twangy as in, I mean like
I like a warm, thick
like
bass
a
sound.
jazz bass.
Like a bit thinner?
Yeah, like a little
Interesting.
bit, but boomy. A boomy, and then you track the Sans amp through it, and it makes that shit real good.
Oh.
Makes it thick.
Yeah.
And I appreciate bass now. I never used to, but like I brought him up before, but like Liam's dad, Jason, my mate Liam in my old band, his dad is the reason I appreciate bass because he's a bass player.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, man, like had this like Marshall stack bass amp, and he had a Sans amp, and that shit was epic. And I never appreciated it until I understood.
Now you get it.
Yeah, I got it. You know, it's there's so much more to bass than just plugging into a shitty school amp.
Yeah.
With like dull strings, there's a lot more to it.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of just like look at bass as sort of. I used to look at it as just like, oh, it's just there to kind of back up the guitar, and then I played bass on sort of records and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, no.
Bass is
There's
fun.
a lot more to it.
It's an underappreciated.
It is, yeah.
It's super fun though. I play my bass like a guitar, and I think that kind of is one of the parts to the sound of the band I'm in. It's like playing a bass like a guitar, like thrashy riffs and chords, and it works out. It's a versatile instrument, the bass. If you chuck an octave pedal on that thing, you're away.
It can work out.
Yeah.
Sweet, bro. Is there anything else? I think kind of reached the time. Do you anything else you want to promote? Anything you want to kind of go on?
Yeah, come to is this the camera here?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
No, that one's not working. Come to Dougfest on Labour Weekend in Hamilton at Last Place, and check out our song Black Taxi, which will be out on all platforms and the Rock and all that good stuff on October 6th.
Sweet as. Cool, man. I will call it there. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Sweet. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Cheers. We'll call it there.